I'd like to welcome you all to the 2011 update. This is the January 2012 update, reviewing what we had done as Mandan Tomorrow during the year 2011, and we will preview what we will accomplish in 2012. There we go. Thank you. Our strategic visioning process was launched in 2009 by the Chamber with support from many businesses, along with the Mandan City Commission, the Mandan Park Board, and the Mandan School Board. The strategic visioning process allowed for study of entire community across all geographic areas and sectors. There was market research, there was input through focus groups, individual interviews, and nearly 900 survey responses. The implementation. The plan was dubbed Mandan Tomorrow. There was assignment to 4 committees. Those 4 committees are Leadership, Pride and Image, Economic Opportunity and Prosperity, and Quality, Places and Destinations, and finally, Education and Workforce. I'd like to introduce now Mrs. Lori Langang. She is the chairperson for our Leadership, Pride and Image Committee. Welcome.
Thank you, Kirsten. It's certainly very gratifying to be involved with Mandan Tomorrow and striving to make a difference in my hometown. And what's really neat about this teamwork is that it gives you the opportunity to meet and partner with some of the most positive, caring, community-minded people who share that same desire to make a difference. So it's my pleasure tonight to present the wonderful folks on my team, the Leadership, Pride and Image Committee. Please stand and come up here if you're here tonight. I know Kelly Steckler is here and Jason Steffenhagen. Kelly is from the Morton Mandan Public Library, and Jason Steffenhagen is a newer citizen to the Mandan area, and so we're pleased to have both of them on our committee, and thanks very much. Other committee members are Christy Enzi, she's with Dakota Community Bank, Damian Huddle, Pam Mack, Tom Regan, and our staff liaison is Ellen Huber, who's the Business Development and Communications Director here for the City of Mandan. Oops. With great pride in our teamwork, I give you a review of the Leadership, Pride and Image 2011 activities and accomplishments. One of our goals is to assure a strong and continual base of public leaders. In March of 2011, we conducted our second annual public information session to educate Mandan and Morton County citizens about the roles and responsibilities that comes with serving in local elected offices as a city or county commissioner and as a school or park board member. There will be a number of city, county, school, and park office seats slated for an upcoming June 2012 election. If you or someone you know have interest in learning more about serving in these positions and the processes for seeking candidacy, we'll be conducting our third information session right here at the Mandan City Hall tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Also in 2011, prior to the June school board election, we held a candidate issues forum as an opportunity for voters to be more informed about their school board candidate election choices. These public informational sessions are also televised on Dakota Media's Government Channel 2 so that we can best reach the citizens. One of our first-year accomplishments was the creation of a community marketing theme to highlight and to spread the word about all of the great things that Mandan offers. And so in the fall of 2010, Great Things Made in Mandan was launched with funding committed by the city, school, and park boards in 2011. And again, we have that funding commitment in our second-year marketing plan for 2012. As we go along this evening, you'll see this marketing theme logo on the lower right-hand corner of our slide presentation. The Made in Mandan logo is very inclusive and versatile, with the 4 major key messages to highlight Mandan's assets that we concentrate on when developing our marketing initiatives. Those are opportunity for retail and business recruitment purposes, adventure for tourist and visitor attraction, achievement to tout great accomplishments and services such as our top-notch schools, and community for residential recruitment and retention. Business and retail development marketing in 2011 included print ads in the Prairie Business Magazine and the Chamber Connection newspaper, as well as a fact sheet for new and existing businesses. Visitor and tourism marketing, focusing on a key message of adventure, advertising has been included in the Bismarck Mandan Convention and Visitors Bureau Directory and a visitor's brochure, which includes placement in state rest area racks. Our 2012 marketing plan includes the North Dakota Tourism Directory. You may have also seen these colorful billboards advertising activities to bring visitors into Mandan. And those shown here are the Raging Rivers Water Park, golf courses, Dakota Speedway, Papa's Pumpkin Patch, and several of the Mandan Progress Organization events, such as the Sports and Recreation Rendezvous, Buggies and Blues, Grill Fest, and Santa's Arrival and Christmas Shop Hop. Residential marketing included ads in the Hot Properties magazine and development of a residential brochure. The residential brochures were distributed to real estate agents to provide their customers. Along with that, we held meetings with the local real estate agencies, providing them with informational facts to assist and encourage them in promoting Mandan's strengths. Public relations activities, those efforts are to engage and encourage community participation, include the Made in Mandan website and a Facebook page. Our community marketing ads can be viewed on the Made in Mandan website. We encourage use of the marketing theme and logo by businesses, organizations, and event organizers. The policy for its use can be found on the Made in Mandan website. And the Facebook page is for purpose of sharing positive news and activities that are going on in Mandan. Now, in 2010, we had conducted an online non-resident survey as a means to assess the perceptions of our community from those outside of Mandan. And again, in 2011, we conducted that survey, which provided us with that same insight, but now we also had 2010 and 2011 comparables to determine where we were making strides and areas that we needed to further our efforts. A component to the 2011 survey was questions specific to the Great Things Made in Mandan marketing theme and ads to gauge its effectiveness. Key findings of that non-resident survey include reinforcement of our perceived strengths, being a strong sense of community, growth, opportunities for student achievement, our public school system. And on the note of the public school system, let me just mention that this year Mandan can really be proud of recognition of our high school principal, Mark Andreessen, being named Principal of the Year. Our assistant high school principal, Perry Just, was named North Dakota Assistant Principal of the Year, and Special Education Director Tracy Klein was named the North Dakota Special Education Director of the Year. Other strengths that are findings from the non-resident survey, our parks and recreation system, the quality of our elected officials, and the wonderful events and activities that we have in Mandan. The survey also reinforced areas we need to focus our work on, including the perceptions of our business sector. We really need to work on generating awareness of Mandan's more than 700 plus businesses and the success stories. You know, we are a city that has taken bold steps to remedy challenges that once held us back, and we need to bring more realization that Mandan has viably evolved in the last 5 to 10 years, and we have so much to offer. We'll continue to bring this message across in our marketing plans to stimulate increased interest in property and business investment. The non-resident survey provided insight about the effectiveness of our first-year completed marketing campaign. The results tell us that half of the residents indicated they had seen the logo, while only 31% were certain that they had seen or heard of some of the advertising. 60% rated the influence effect of the sample ads as definitely to somewhat positive. The results really are telling that increased reach and frequency is needed to have a greater impact. But funds in our marketing budget allow us to do only so much. Another strategic plan goal is to improve Mandan's physical attractiveness. And before I get into our committee activities in this area, let me just say again that if you haven't taken a look at Mandan in the last 5 to 10 years, you haven't seen many of the aesthetic improvements, such as removal of dilapidated buildings on Main Street. In the heart of downtown, residents now occupy beautiful new apartments in Mandan Place and Library Square 1 and 2. Main Street's Dykeshorn Park has been beautifully enhanced, and we can be proud of its neighboring Mandan Heritage Plaza and Park. I could continue on with such wonderful examples of attractive changes in Mandan, but that would simply take a separate program here, and we're not in the time frame to do that tonight. Our committee has requested that the city continue to explore a property maintenance code, and we do have a Leadership Pride and Image Committee member volunteer to participate with that effort. Our committee has also become familiar with current city property regulations that have prompted citizen reminders through articles in the Mandan Messenger newsletter and on the city website. As we look at our 2012 goals, we continue the focus on those areas identified by the citizens in the 2009 strategic visioning process. We'll continue a number of those 2011 activities, including community marketing and leadership information sessions. Together, our committee has determined additional areas of focus to work on in 2012. Within the goal of leadership, we're looking at finding ways to involve Mandan's youth. We believe this should really be an aspect of inclusion within all 4 Mandan Tomorrow committees. Fostering communication with and among Mandan businesses. We'll look at exploring ways which we can encourage and assist teamwork for common goals. Encouraging businesses and employees to volunteer. Mandan Tomorrow committees are really a fine example of that. Many of our committee members, including myself, have been fortunate to work for employers who recognize the value to the community in giving us some flexibility to commit ourselves to community service. Within the goal of pride and image, we'll continue to explore beautification efforts within the realm of citizen involvement in those efforts. Perhaps a community-wide event or a day dedicated to litter removal, or a city staff and citizen committee collaboration. strengthening partnerships with government, business, and civic entities to market, improve the impression and community satisfaction. What we'll likely want to do there is begin those efforts with our committee's outreach efforts to have conversations with these entities and gather some of their ideas and input. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Lori. Are there any questions for Mrs. Langang and or her committee members this evening? Any questions about that portion of our presentation? Hearing none, we will move to the next section. And at this point, we will hear from the Economic Opportunity and Prosperity Group. And I believe Richard will be our presenter this evening, Richard Maurer from BMDA. Richard, welcome.
Just press the arrow key, correct?
Yes, that's
Okay.
correct, the right arrow.
Right arrow, okay. Good evening. It's my pleasure on behalf of the Economic Opportunity and Prosperity Committee to give you this presentation tonight. Rob Knoll, who's our committee chair, unfortunately is out of town and not able to do this, and so I'll be doing the presentation on behalf of the committee. We do have one committee member who is here, and that's Commissioner Dot Frank. You'd like to come up and join us while we introduce the folks, or you can just remain seated. We work for her, so I'd be happy to let her make that call. Other members of the committee, of course, I mentioned earlier, Rob Knoll is the committee chair. Tom Ahrens, a Mandan resident, is also on the committee. Jay File from Starion Financial. John Goodhart from Malum Goodhart. Dennis Heider from Montana Dakota Utilities Company. Niles Hushka, Cadamus Lee and Jackson. Todd Porter from Metro Area Ambulance and also a representative with the North Dakota Legislature. And Bruce Strenden, Morton County Commissioner, also serve on this committee. Over the course of the last year, one of the areas that we spent a lot of time working on was a tool that we saw as an opportunity to develop some of the small business and entrepreneurs within the community, a way to provide an opportunity for individuals in the community to invest in businesses within our boundaries. And one of the tools that we put together was an idea of putting together an investment group. How do we take the money that is out in the community, invest it into a single project, and then grow that project in the local community? Over the years, we've seen certain businesses come and go, but we wanted to use this as an attraction opportunity for some sort of retail or service sector or restaurant type business where we as residents could buy and bring into our community. One of the things that as we've been working trying to attract different type of retailers and restaurant users in the community, we often find that there's a disconnect between the entrepreneur who has the idea and the folks who have the money. So our primary focus with this activity was to bring those two parties together and create some legislation via tax credits that we could use to kind of solve this, step into this gap. We working with a couple of our local legislators, Senator Dwight Cook in the Senate and Representative Porter in the House, we crafted some legislation that was targeted at those communities under 25,000 who were below average in retail sales tax generation within the community. I can say it was a really interesting process as we watched it go through. It was the first chance that I actually had the opportunity to watch a piece of legislation that came out of some work that I was working on go through the process. And I can tell you it's an interesting process. If you've never done it before, I encourage you because it was an eye-opening civics lesson for me. But as this legislation went through the process, oh, I guess I can do that. As this legislation went through the process, we were able to go through the Senate, get that side of the aisle, took it to the House where our concept died. And so rather than walk away from this concept, we are going to move forward in 2012 with the creation of a Renaissance Zone fund organization for the community as a vehicle where we can take some local investment and create or attract a retail or restaurant type operation that we want to see in our community, or some investment into some strategic buildings within the Renaissance Zone. As we talked about earlier, when you see long-standing businesses in the community shut their doors, when it's time for individuals to retire. That's always a sad thing in a community. One of the things that, as we were doing our business retention and expansion visits between the Bismarck Mandan Development Association and the City of Mandan's Business Development Office, we came across several business owners who were reaching that point of their career where they wanted to start thinking about retirement. So as we were meeting with these organizations, one of the things we talked about with our Economic Opportunity and Prosperity Committee was, how can we work with those business owners so that we can identify future owners or future individuals to take over those businesses. So rather than just shutting the door, putting the land for sale, we could actually identify future owners of that business and work with those present owners so that they could transition this business and continue it within the community. We went out, we found 10 sponsors to put some money in so that we could put together a succession planning workshop. We brought in experts from the small business development centers here in the state and had them do a presentation to 40 plus businesses, talking to them about the succession planning process, what they need to start thinking about 5 years in advance, and what the steps that they need to take to start getting their business ready to take it from their ownership and transferring it to future ownership. As we moved on in 2011, one of the things we always want to make sure of is that we have the proper and current incentive tools within a community. And the committee provided support to the city as they move forward and put together their application for the Small Business Credit Initiative. The Small Business Credit the Small Business Credit Initiative came out of the Department of Treasury's program and basically set aside $13.2 million for use in communities that participate in this program. Mandan was able to take the lead, and proudly I'm able to say, put together a very large coalition, and out of that coalition that stretches from Fargo on the east to Williston in the west, up to Minot, and throughout the western part of the state, we'll have around approximately 10 million out of that 13.2 million allocation that North Dakota had set aside. It's exciting to see a program like this come together and be able to serve those businesses who are looking to grow or create businesses within the within the state of North Dakota. As we move into 2012, energy is on everybody's mind. You can't pick up the newspaper today, you can't go online and look at stories without seeing something about oil and gas. One of the goals that the committee will be working on in 2012 is figuring out how, as a community, we can tap into some of that business that's available, or put our community on the map as a location that's interested in serving those businesses that are looking for their chance in the oil and gas business. We'll be continuing to work with the entrepreneur, because entrepreneurs basically drive, the small business drives job growth within our community. And one of the things that we're going to be doing is putting together a couple more workshops so we can work with entrepreneurs and focus on issues like entrepreneurship training, focus on issues like franchising, talk to them about what they need to go through as they move forward with their ideas and concepts. And with that, I'll go ahead and wrap up. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Do we have any questions for this portion of our event this evening? Thank you. Then with that, I will introduce Norm Clark. He is the chair of our Quality Places and Destinations Committee. Norm.
Thank you very much. I would like to start by also introducing some of the members of the team that I have put together. I have Annette M. Caldwell with Open Road Honda. If you'd like to join me up here just for a moment. No? Oh, okay, you're going to leave me hanging. That's fine. I've got Matt Shannondor with the Fort Lincoln Foundation, Del Wetch with the Mandan Progress Organization, our staff liaison, Cole Higlin, who's Director of Mandan Parks and Recreation. In addition, we have Terry Kraft with American Family Insurance, Lee Pierce, the outfitter architect, and Lisa Quintus, citizen, serving on our group. One of the things when our survey was originally done, we were tasked with 11 different ideas, thought processes through this survey. Adding at least 2 new major annual events, continuing downtown revitalization, capitalizing on adventure tourism, leveraging the array of indoor and outdoor sports facilities to attract year-round tournaments, enhancing the development potential of Memorial Highway, assessing the development potential of the Missouri Riverfront, pursuing development opportunities adjacent to I-94, enhancing the development, coordination, and marketing of recreational activities, ensuring planning focusing on quality life for families and senior citizens, pursue development of a mid-sized event center, and create and maintain planning and regulatory processes promoting effective development. So as you can see, a big scope was charged with my group. So to tie into those 2 new annual events that were added, we had the Mandan Progress Organization Sport and Recreation Show. Unfortunately, this year, due to inclement weather, that was canceled. However, it is still in discussion to occur in 2012. On a more positive note, we did have the 2nd annual Wild West Grill Fest down in the Dykeshorn Park area in August, which was a tremendous success. We had a great turnout not only by the competitors with their different barbecues, and we also had a strong showing from the public. We have already scheduled for August 17th and 18th, 2012, our 3rd annual Wild West Grill Fest. One of our other tasks was seeking more tournaments, competitions, and adventure tourism. We did a little more research on this particular aspect of things to find out what items the students, the citizens of the Mandan area were interested in seeing. And that was started by a survey of the high school students, combined with the chamber leadership team, and then a follow-up community survey by our committee. 2 of the items that we found that had a strong level of local interest was a sledding hill and some sort of an outdoor movie activity. Those recommendations were passed on, and I am proud to say that the Mandan Park District did incorporate the sledding hill into the 2011 to 2013 strategic plan, and that is still in planning stages. Unfortunately, with the lack of snow that we had this year, that pushed us back probably a little bit in regards to that, but I'm not minding not using the shovel. So the outdoor movie, we also incorporated this last year, and the Mandan Park District was also instrumental in helping us with that. And our first outdoor summer movie was held September 10th at the Mandan Memorial Ballpark. We showed the movie The Perfect Game. We had about 200 people that showed up in attendance of this event. The nice thing about it is the attendance from the families started just from the young age families all the way to retired citizens. So we had a nice diverse group that came to attend and watch the movie with us. Weather was perfect. We also had the benefit of the Bismarck Mandan National Dance Team serving concessions at that event as well. We do have another outdoor movie planned for 2012. Capitalizing on indoor and outdoor sports facilities to attract more activities. Our committee is currently working to identify organizations hosting bike riding, running, and walking events. In 2012, we've got a couple of new items that we're really excited about. The first of which is a 5K marathon all-terrain run known as the Gladiator Rush. This is the first event of this kind here in North Dakota and will be held down on June 30th at Huff Hills, south of Mandan. Again, this is a 5K all-terrain run, so this will include various obstacles in this 5K run. such as a mountain of mud, some various fire jumps, and a barbed wire mud crawl. So we're very excited to have this item added to the events that we have going on here in Mandan. There is also a website up and running, gladiatorrush.com, and that has more details on this event, some pictures from other events across the U.S., and we also have registration information there if you are excited about that. We also have been in contact with the North Dakota cattlewomen who are looking to put together a beef run, a 5K, 10K walk run in October. We have forwarded information to them in regards to the running route, the planning process, who they need to visit with in order to coordinate that. As more information gets firmed up on the North Dakota Cattlewoman Beef Run, we will pass that on to everyone else. 2012, additional areas of focus. Already mentioned a couple of fun things that we have going on here in town. We also are looking to participate in or help guide renewed discussions on a possible event center or expo center facility here in Mandan. In addition, we are exploring opportunities during the restoration and possibly to enhance the Fort Lincoln State Park. It sounds like there is a tentative June 2012 opening date pending all of the repairs get completed. Winter events here in Mandan. A couple of things that we have looked at are snowmobile drag racing or other snowmobile or motorsports, something that we kind of started to organize, and again, due to lack of snow, it was put on the back burner. But we have the Rough Rider Snowmobile Club that is interested in coordinating an event in conjunction with Fort Lincoln State Park. A snowmobile run that would go from Fort Lincoln down to Huff Hills, an organized trail ride, and there would also be snowmobile rentals available for those people that do not currently own that type of thing. The farmers market, we're continuing to build off the location that was established 2 years ago and are hoping to have a little bit better conditions for harvesting and whatnot this year. A more recent item that has just kind of come up over the last week is a potential splash pad that our committee is looking at to see what kind of interest there is in incorporating something along that lines also in Mandan. That concludes my presentation. Kelvin? A splash pad is a swimming area without the pool, basically. Incorporates a lot of the things that you see at, I believe it's the Ramada over in Bismarck, that has kind of sprinkler mushrooms and that type of thing. It incorporates also water guns and that type of thing. There is no pool area, so the lifeguarding isn't necessarily something that needs to be key to that. It's more the fun in the water and in the sun. So.
Any other questions? And we can just repeat your questions, so if you don't have to worry about having to come up here. Are there any other questions for Norm or his committee?
Is Norm going to participate in
The question was, is Norm going to compete in the Gladiator Rush?
You're not the first person that's asked me that, Dave. I am actually looking at signing up for it. I'm not going to guarantee what kind of place I'm going to have in that, but it sounds like a lot of fun. So.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, Norm.
Thank you.
The next committee presentation will be the Education and Workforce Committee, and we have with us tonight Dave Clark, the chair of that committee. He is from Bismarck State College. Dave.
Thank you, Kirsten. We have two of our committee members here this evening. Kirsten serves on our committee, and she works for the Bismarck School District and is also president of the Mandan School Board. And Dr. Kevin Fishback with the University of Mary. I won't ask you to come up. I know how shy you all are. But our other committee members are Tom Conlon, who's with the Missouri River Education Cooperative, Phil Davis, who's with Job Service, Melissa Hellman from NISC, Jeff Moser, who's a local realtor, and then our staff liaison is Wilfred Valesky, and Wilfred's been doing a great job for our committee, and the district is doing very well. As you're probably aware, that you've been seeing enrollment growth in Mandan as well as other areas in the state, and so there are challenges for sure. So if you look at our 2011 activities, we've been focusing, one of the areas we've been focusing is dual credit, early college start for students. We have seen a 12% increase, we've seen an 84 student increase in the number of dual credit students. That equates into 384 credit hours. And that's mainly due to expanded opportunities and a significant reduction in cost to those students, a 70% reduction with many of those classes being taught at Mandan High School. We've seen a 12% increase in the number of students who are taking advantage of after-school supplemental education opportunities, and that's to improve math and reading competencies. So we're pleased with that. We've also been focusing on trying to increase the workforce training opportunities for Mandan businesses and organizations. In this past year, we did do that with 5 businesses and are looking to increase that number. So when you look at our focus areas for 2012, one of the areas is, many of you are probably aware of the Hess Corporation's generous donation of $25 million to the state of North Dakota. And that's really about college readiness opportunities. What they're trying to do is to raise student ACT scores, reduce dropout rates, and reduce the number of remedial courses that students are having to take once they get to college. And really with the involvement of the Mandan School District and our Missouri River Education Cooperative, we're very well positioned to take advantage of those funds to make improvements in those areas. And so that's going to be an area of focus for us in 2012. We're also looking to add and provide additional incentive and support for dual credit opportunities for Mandan High School students. This is an increasing opportunity. Mainly, much of the focus has been in the larger cities, but we're looking at trying to do more in rural areas as well. And really, Mandan High School is very well positioned to increase those numbers, and so we're going to be looking to do that. We want to look into student internship opportunities and provide more emphasis and try and provide those opportunities for students. Many of them are paid, some are not, but we think that we can increase that opportunity for students in Mandan. And then finally, to continue to recognize and provide incentives to students relating to their academic achievement, that we provide that recognition for those students. We do a pretty good job of that in sports, but for academic achievement, we want to do that as well. So those are our focus areas, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.
Any questions for Ms. Clark this evening? That does conclude our portion of our presentation, so thank you, Dr. Clark. Are there any other questions overall for something you possibly thought of for any other committee chair, any other committee member as we're going through, something that may have piqued your thoughts and some curiosity? Then if there are none, I would just like to thank, we have two members from the Bismarck-Mandan Chamber with us this evening. Kelvin Hewlett and Susie Kasurik are with us this evening. They have been instrumental in helping us move this Mandan Tomorrow strategic planning process forward. I sincerely appreciate their help, their assistance throughout this whole planning process and the implementation, and for attending this evening. Thank you very much. I'd like to recognize Jim Neubauer. He's our city administrator. He has also been very, very helpful working with Kelvin and Susie on the Mandan side, implementing things. So thank you to all the committee members that are here this evening. Thank you very much for your service. We have a banner up there thanking you publicly, but I just wanted to say it personally, that we sincerely do appreciate the work that you've done and the time and the commitment that you've given to our hometown city of Mandan. So thank you very much. We appreciate your time and your continued efforts. Finally, and last but not least, she was mentioned as the liaison for the Leadership Pride and Image Committee. Thank you very much to Mrs. Ellen Huber. She helped put this night together in the PowerPoint presentation. It's just, without her, most of this update, most of this presentation wouldn't have ever occurred, along with all the work on the committees. Thank you very much. So with that, I will say good night and thank you all for coming, and we look forward to a very successful 2012 and another year of progress. And we'll see you next year to report on all we've done. Thank you.